Gav is back. This Week in Startups is up next. But first, this from Orange Theory. We're back, baby.
Here we go.
So Gav, big picture stuff. There's some good news and some bad news here.
There's always good news and bad news.
I actually think the bad news is the good news.
Okay.
Let's share.
Depends which way you look at it, right?
Always up,
So
baby.
the big news over the past couple of weeks is that the conversation in the boardrooms of tech startups and publicly listed companies is changing, and it's changing quick.
Yep.
More about pathways to profitability and less about growth at all costs.
Shock horror.
So we're seeing in the venture capital space, the deal cycles are slowing down.
Yep.
You know, last year there were deals, every time I opened the newspaper, there was another deal, another deal, another deal, 8 to 10 a day. We're seeing that slow down. We started to see some layoffs in some big companies as well, big scale up companies as well, starting to trim some fat off the edges as well. And we'll probably see that a lot as we move forward as well.
Our guy Adir.
Yes, so Adir Shiffman, who's the executive chair of Catapult Sports, does a regular post in the AFR, and the quote this week was, "Those who liken 2022 to the dotcom crash mostly weren't there."
Right.
Which I thought was like quote of the day, quote of the week.
I think there's some fact there, like.
Absolutely, I mean.
Like some of these young entrepreneurs probably weren't even born then.
Yeah, well, there were a lot of founders who from 2012 to 2022, so the past decade, either started their business or became first-time investors. They weren't here during the dot-com crash. They weren't here during, the GFC in 2008 period.
Yeah, wow.
So there's going to be a lot of people learning really quickly over the next few weeks, months, and years as to how to adapt.
I feel like that treadmill is going to get really fast, and it's almost like the ground's falling away behind them, and they just got to continue to catapult their business into profitability in order to be able to stay on safe ground.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of moving parts, right? There might be lower valuations. There might be, flat rounds from valuations round to round. There might be bridging rounds. There might be down rounds. There'll be M&A. So there's going to be a lot of moving parts. Whereas last year it was just
bang, bang.
Right, mega round, and unicorns crowned every week.
Yeah, awesome.
But despite all that glue,
yeah.
Great startups and great founders will get funded. There's a lot of dry powder out there. Venture capitalists, we know they've raised, Airtree raised something like 750 million, Blackbird, Squarepeg targeting the 700 to $1 billion, and also the micro funds of 50 to 100 mil. There's a lot of money out there. And we saw in the past couple of weeks, Fresho raised 14, Openpay raised 18 million, Skip Capital led a $20 million round. Who else did we see? Vouch raised $8 million. So there are a lot of $8, $10, $20 million rounds still being done.
Yeah, and I think that if you have been paying attention to unit economics, shout out to my guy, versus just trying to get big for the sake of being big, then you deserve to be in those sorts of conversations.
Yeah, it's that idea that growth at all costs is now not the main topic of conversation in boardrooms.
But they are few and far between.
Yeah, so we saw Go1 raise over $100 million, taking them to over a $2 billion valuation. It was the first 9-figure raise since March.
Wow.
So there's been quite a big lull in terms of these mega raises, but they will still come. They may just not come every week like we saw last year.
And then in the M&A world?
Well, the big news this past couple of weeks is Woolworths picked up my deal for $250 million.
That feels like a deal.
And if we recall, back to, what was it, the end of 2019, I think it was, when Wesfarmers acquired Catch for $230 million. Now Woolworths are jumping in the game for $250 million, buying my deal. And obviously there's the big giant of Amazon in the market, also Kogan and a variety of others in this space.
Yeah, and then Qantas.
Yeah, Qantas have dipped their toe into the travel booking site TripADeal
Byron Bay, baby.
Yeah, Byron Bay.
So they hail from Byron Bay, and Tripper Deal.
That's right.
And Qantas just acquired them.
Yeah, the other big news that came out over the past 24 hours, actually, this is breaking news. Flying Fox.
That's my girl.
Which is an early stage VC. They invest pre-seed and seed, founded by Kylie Fraser and Rachel Newman, came out with a new take on their portfolio of founders.
I got goosebumps.
Which is they're going to be sharing 5% of their carry, so their income they get off the growth of the business they invest in, with the portfolio of founders. And I think the really interesting thing here is, aside from the two of them being rock stars in their own right, this approach is very unique for the Australian market.
Oh, yeah.
And when VCs are looking to differentiate beyond just giving capital, this is a great way to be able to really bring a collaborative approach to the portfolio of the founders.
And I think if you're looking to raise capital, you know, the fact that Flying Fox are willing to do what they're set out to do, I'd be turning to them first, trying to get in with them.
There you go, the endorsement right here.
Speaking about powerful women.
Sheryl Sandberg.
Oh, mate. See you later, Sheryl.
See you later. After over a decade as Mark Zuckerberg's COO at Facebook, or Meta now, she's pulled the pin.
I thought she was phenomenal. I really looked up to her for a long period of time. However, she came undone for me when Facebook sort of started to just kind of drop value and stop to actually protect community, and now changed their name to Meta. But unfortunately for me, Gav, you may feel differently, but Sheryl had an opportunity, as far as I'm concerned, to really pull Mark in a line and say, mate, we've got to do this, this, and this. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't, but she's out.
This is a new segment we're going to have on this vlog called Toby's Take. We'll throw a data point out there that happened in the past month, and we'll get Toby's take on it. But yeah, there's been a lot of for and against articles written as a result of her resignation. The other big news: Mike Cannon-Brookes, co-founder of Atlassian, was listed in the top 100 Times top 100 list of 2022.
Mike, I've actually got you in my top 10. Time put you in your top 100. Who's your boy? No? Okay. Guys, thank you.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. See you next month.
See you later.